I don't know if you can tell by the clock because of the videos in reverse, but it says 2:01 a.m. 2:01 a.m. and yes, that's my GameCube, and yes, I have video game consoles like I did for Miami TVG for Miami Plays, but that's not the point here. The reason why I'm showing you 2 a.m. it's because it's how long this playoff game has taken just for it to end. And good riddance. I'm thankful that we won the game, but holy shit, good riddance. I barely celebrated because of the fact that it was so late. It was going to be 2 a.m. almost. But yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it right now because I want to go to bed, but I also have an obligation to put this on the internet overnight. Before I talk about this, though, I do want to issue an apology from yesterday, or a day prior. I wasn't able to upload the reaction video right away because something was weird about YouTube. YouTube was acting strange. What happened was, and this is a lot of content creators out there, what happened was the video would upload, but it wouldn't process. Either the video would have an error uploading a video, or when it hits processing, it kept saying waiting, until eventually it goes processing, and it goes back to waiting, meaning it never processed. A lot of content creators, like myself, were having an issue with this. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to upload it overnight. Let's see what happens. I woke up the next morning, it failed to process, and I was pissed off about it. So I had to go. So overnight, I was tweeting, "Hey, what's going on with this?" and shit. Eventually, they fixed it, but they fixed it like around 6 a.m. So like, they're up for like 3 in the morning up on the West Coast, something like that. But bottom line here is I did upload it this morning. Well, yesterday morning. Now that it's Friday. Yeah, that's why the video was late. And I'm telling you why this video is late because of what I'm about to talk about right now. So in the first period, it's an unsurreal feeling in Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 27 years, the first time since 1996. We play against Carolina Hurricanes up in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've driven past this. We've driven past this city a few times in my lifetime. City looks great. So we had I'm so sorry. I'm about to struggle with words because I'm really close to the passing out. I'm gonna try the best. So in the first period, it was pretty good. We were. Here we go. This is actually easier. We actually had a power play. We had a power play. Actually, no, they had a power play. So we had to do a penalty kill. We killed it off. But what happened? But then late in the first period, oh my God, it's gonna be a terrible video. Late in the first period, Mark Stahl was called for tripping. So he had to go into the penalty box. So, convincing call. It looked like it was a trip. But then there was a second call on Aaron Ekblad, which I think is total bullshit. Basically what happens was he shoved, I think it was Stefan Nosen, but they called him for cross-checking. And Paul Maurice was livid, rightfully so. Paul Maurice was livid off the bench. So now Mark Stahl and Aaron Ekblad to the bench. And next thing you know, it was a 5-on-3. So in my head, I immediately was thinking they're gonna score a goal. They eventually scored a goal, but it was a power play goal. It was Seth Jarvis, and it was a power play goal because Mark Stahl's penalty was killed off, but Aaron Ekblad's was not. So 5-on-3 was good, but the 5-on-4 was not. So Seth Jarvis, got out of there and got a power play goal. So that was pretty bad. Now we go to the second period, where we had a situation where Martin Nesas or Netgas, I apologize if I get this wrong. He slashed Forsling. That's a power play, and that penalty was killed off. Then there was an icing called a little bit after. Barkov won the face-off in that time frame with the situation, and the Barkov with the puck in the right in the right side. He shoots, and it was a wrist shot by Barkov, and he scored. That's his third goal of the playoff series, assisted by Duclair and Verhaeghe. So it ties the game 1-1. A little bit more into the second period. I'll say about 2 minutes in the second period. There was another goal, and it was Swagger, Carter Verhaeghe. Initially, ESPN said Anthony Duclair, but they changed it and they made it correct, saying that Verhaeghe scored, and that was the right call. What they're trying to say is Duclair actually assisted Verhaeghe, which is true. So Verhaeghe gets his sixth goal of this playoff series, and he's always the swagger coming into clutch situations. So Panthers take the lead 2-1. Then we go to the third period, and again, I noticed this with the playoff series, right? Most of the penalties that we've given up were power play goals, and this is no exception. Nosen with the power play goal, because Sam Bennett was called for boarding. Really, and you knew it was coming. Each time Sam Bennett gets called for a penalty, we always give up a goal. No ifs or buts. Nosen ties the game up. Then in the third period, things get pretty feisty. Then from there and out, it became a goalie battle. Carolina was getting some momentum in. Florida Panthers was getting some momentum in. Offside was called. And we go to overtime. Second overtime in a row for Florida. And we start overtime with Carolina. Jordan Stahl. There's 3 Stahl brothers. There's Eric, Mark, and Jordan. Eric and Mark Stahl play for Florida, and Jordan Stahl plays for Carolina. I'm sure you already know that. So we're gonna skip the overtime. We're gonna talk about Ryan Lomberg. He finally comes from an injury, and then he actually shot one. He actually won the game in overtime for Florida Panthers, Lomberg. However, for some reason, referees were going to the situation room, and then they deemed there was a goaltending interference when it wasn't Cousins. It was someone else. It was someone else in there. I'm too tired to even freaking think. So regardless, there was a goaltending interference. It was Colin White. Okay, now I remember. Colin White. So Lomberg scores. There was a challenge, and they said Colin White interfered with Freddie Anderson, which is Carolina's goalie. So goaltending interference, that didn't hold well. Then Carolina was called for a penalty for holding Duclair. That was killed off. I believe there was one instance where I believe it was it Aho? No, it was Jarvis. Jarvis was this close to winning it for Carolina, but it hit the post. And nobody was able to get a shot in. Carolina was getting some momentum in, like I said earlier, and Florida was actually getting some opportunities in. Became a goaltending battle. We go to double overtime. Um, so, yeah, we go to double overtime. Um, Carolina got a shot in. It was saved by Bobrovsky. Goalie shot on goal, so it was a save. Aho was also trying to shoot. Carolina was getting a lot of shots in early in in double overtime. They were close to actually winning it, and Florida was actually close to winning it too, a bunch of times. Lou Serene actually tried to shoot. Colin White was missed. Verhage was also missed. Gudis was trying to play defense, which was nice. No penalty at all in this double overtime, by the way. And really, it became a goalie battles. Bobrovsky was making some critical saves, but Frederick Anderson, I will say this, though, as frustrating as it is in the opposing side, he is a great goalie. He has made some critical saves for Carolina Hurricanes throughout the overtimes. And before you know it, it became midnight. And when Bennett was trying to win it off in double overtime, it was blocked. A lot of shots were getting blocked. A lot of pucks were going ice. And shots were given away. And that's what's so frustrating. Now we go to triple overtime. At that point I'm like, you know what? Anyone wins this game, I don't mind, because I want to go to bed. I have a work morning. So we got called for a penalty in this period, sixth period. And I'm trying to figure out who was the one who got called for Florida, because Carolina was in the power play. I believe it was Verhage. It's either that or it happened in the fourth overtime, which, spoiler alert, fourth overtime did happen. So actually, in the triple overtime, there was one instance where Jordan Stahl was actually pretty good, and there was actually a pass play that nearly won it for Carolina. Aho was in the middle of it. Slavin was in the middle of it. Just Perry was involved. Jarvis. It was close. The closest one in the triple overtime for us was Montour, who has spent most of the time on the ice. Yes, Brandon Montour spent 50 minutes on the ice tonight. Isn't that insane? I think it's insane. I think it's literally insane. So in the triple overtime, it became, I'm not gonna lie, it became a little bit of a drag, to say the least, because, like I said, goaltending battle. Montour almost won it. Barkov nearly won it for Hagee. Cousins was involved. Forsling. They nearly tried. Lundell was almost saved us of the trouble going for quadruple overtime, and it did not happen that way. Instead, we go to quadruple overtime, where it was already 1 a.m. I was getting impatient. I was tired, and as well as a lot of us in the country, we were getting really tired. Verhage was called for a hooking in this quadruple overtime, so my apologies for getting it wrong. In the triple overtime, I forgot who got called for a penalty in triple overtime. Actually, it doesn't say who got called, but I know someone got called for a penalty in the triple overtime. I'm not tripping about it. I'm really not tripping. But anyway, Verhage got called for a penalty of hook, but that penalty was killed off. And then I'm like, you know what? Just end it, Carolina. Just do it. Penalty was killed off. Verhage almost. Verhage was this close of saving us the game. He really was. Verhage, swagger. He was doing it all for us. Mahura, Gudis, they were involved. of trying to get us a win. But Verhaeghe was the one who was the most aggressive, as well as Barkov, Tkachuk, Losarenin. So we go to the end of the quadruple overtime. This is a funny story. As I'm about to, as we're bracing for our fifth overtime, my parents actually were coming down, checking what's going on. Like, why are you still watching the game, or actually, is the game still on? My mother was surprised. But I swear to God, as soon as she was walking down the stairs, because I was in the living room, she was in sleep. She comes downstairs. Matthew Tkachuk scores an fourth overtime goal. Matthew Tkachuk, Kaching, finished off Carolina. Well, not finished off, but wins the game against Carolina in Game 1. So Eastern Conference playoff goal after dark. Matthew Tkachuk actually did that, and he was a favorite to score a goal. So, yeah, congrats to people who bet on Tkachuk scoring a goal. But Tkachuk wins it for Florida, and the final score is 3-2. Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Final Game 1. It was so ugly, so time-consuming. It was... Ugh. But we did it. We did it anyway. Bobrovsky with 63 saves. Stars of the game is Matthew Tkachuk with one goal deserved, because that one goal was a walk-off. Sergei Bobrovsky was a 2-star goal with 63 saves. And Seth Jarvis, 1 goal, 1 assist for Carolina. So, yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to bed. Before you know it, I got to do a heat reaction. So, yeah, folks, that's going to do it for this video, folks. You don't have to watch this video overnight. You could just save, pause it, and then wake up in the morning and then watch this video. Or if you still have energy, you can still watch this video anyway. It's 2:20 right now, so I better get to bed to go to work tomorrow, and then I'm done for the weekend. Actually, no, I'm not done for the week. Anyway, that's good to do this video, folks. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content, because Miami TVG has your back. And when he does, he'll be right there with you for your entertainment you deserve. I'm so grateful for Tkachuk. I'm so grateful that he won us the game after dark at midnight. And yeah, folks, I'll see you guys later tonight or tomorrow, depending on the upload after the Heat game. Before you know it, Game 2 tonight. All right. Good night, guys. And go Panthers.